I don't think Dave Powers fully understands IPs. I think there's a crucial piece missing if you want to get to the core of their pain. Most people probably think that IPs are generally true to themselves and don't care about other people's opinions. I think the opposite is the case, but let me explain. Several months back, Shannon Day from Objective Personality released a video on the author Ryan Holiday, who's most famous for his many books on Stoicism. In the video, they type him as an ISFP, and in the beginning, Dave criticizes Ryan for preaching his saviors. Take a look.
You have an IP, probably an ISFP, most likely an ISFP,
right,
talking about ego and Stoicism, and what's kind of interesting is like his savior functions and his message kind of overlap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you'll take something, you're like, hey, you know what you all need to do? Is you need to do your own path, says the IJDI or whatever.
Right.
You need to not listen to other people, says the IP.
Says the DI.
Really good message, but it's coming from an IP. That's where it gets a little weird. All right, let me play this first clip and try not to get annoyed.
It's strange. We not only care about other people's opinions, we care about the opinions of people in the future who we will never meet. Marcus Aurelius says, people who long for posthumous fame, they forget not only are they not going to be around to enjoy it, but the people in the future will be just as dumb and silly and ridiculous and obsessed with fads and valuing the wrong things as people right now. So what matters is what you think. He says we love ourselves more than other people, but we care about their opinion more than our own. It's insane. You know what's right. You know what you value. You know what's important. You know what your principles are. That's what you have to measure yourself against. What you're capable of, what you're trying to do. External approval, external validation, external results. That's secondary. How many views this does, that's not important. Did I say what I wanted to say? Did I do what I wanted to do? Did I bring my best self to it? That's what matters.
Okay, so the usual IP message, don't listen to everybody else, do your own fucking thing, right?
As IPs often do, Ryan rants about people. He advocates for introspection, authenticity, and not caring about other people's opinions. Dave argues that Ryan is preaching to be more DI, essentially implying that IPs are authentic by default and don't care about people's opinions. And on the surface, I agree, this is what it sounds like. But still, when I watched the video for the first time months ago, it left me confused. Why would a guy who wrote a book called Ego is the Enemy be preaching DI? Something just didn't add up. In the second half of the video, they show him double deciding, taking the tribe's perspective and processing it out loud. But what if the interpretation was off? Do IPs really not care about the tribe's opinion? What if Ryan was preaching something else all along? In my opinion, too much DI is very different from actual authenticity. As far as I can tell, most IPs are not authentic and care way too much about what other people think. But please don't get me wrong. I did not make this video to defend IPs against the mean Dave Powers. Maybe he's right about Ryan, and I am wrong. But that's beside the point. I'd like to talk about the core problems of IPs with a bit more nuance. Why they're always so damn nervous and awkward, what keeps them stuck, and how they can get out. All deciders either miss the individual's perspective or the tribe spectrum. They cannot easily switch back and forth, which makes it hard to balance the two. This kind of missing information about people makes them scared of the tribe and scared of judgment, because they cannot see the full picture when it comes to people. Usually, the more DI and the more introvert the deciders are, the more scared and nervous they look, and the more awkward they come across. Why do you think that's the case? Because they don't care about people's opinions? If they actually didn't care, they would be free to do whatever they wanted with calm and ease, because they'd have nothing to be afraid of. Does a nervous person seem free to you? This fear of judgment makes them nervous. And what is judgment? But someone else's opinion. IPs look too much at themselves, their opinions, their preferences. They build up a false, unrealistic self-image, an overblown ego they can't let go of. This might appear like authenticity if you don't look more closely. IPs mistakenly equate that ego with themselves. If the world contradicts their self-image, it feels like metaphorical death. And if they don't pay attention, they conveniently don't find contradictions. That's how and why they miss the tribe's perspective. You might think this means they don't care about others' opinions, but I think the opposite is the case. IPs care way too much about the wrong thing, which is the root of their problem. The solution is to find your authenticity and start caring about the right thing. When Ryan Holiday preaches authenticity and introspection, it sounds like he's preaching DI, if you assume that both things are one and the same. However, I do not. Equating authenticity with the human need for self misses one crucial insight. You are actually two people. Imagine seeing yourself in a mirror. There's the person you see in the mirror, the one that probably has your attention, but there's also the one watching the person in the mirror. And that second you is very easy to overlook. So which one are you? Well, both kinda, but not really. In a way, you are both the observer of things and an object to be observed by yourself and others. The observer is called the I self, the seer of things. The one who's observed or looked at or thought about is called the me self, the one seen. The me self is your self-image or self-concept. It includes all the beliefs and opinions you have about yourself, whether you're a good or a bad person, a success or a failure. The me self is a useful tool for navigating and interfacing with the world. It keeps you alive. It is the object of all your needs: food, shelter, relationship significance, and validation. It cares about other people's opinions because that's part of its needs. The me self is neither good nor bad, but it shouldn't be regarded as something it isn't, because that's precisely when we lose ourselves. In our modern environment, the me self goes into maximum overdrive. It never rests back into the I self because of constant distractions. It wants more and more and more. It wants pleasure, money, fame, and power. The attention is on its needs, fueled by feelings of scarcity. It's the I self, or the seer of things, who is the true you. I regard authenticity as operating from the I self. The seer can be thought of as your consciousness or sense of awareness. It's always unchanging and free of need, because need is something the I self experiences as part of the me self. The I self is abundant and cannot be hurt. Judgment isn't an issue, because that can only hurt the me self. The I self simply pays attention to the world as it is and allows you to attend to it from a place of peace. Simply put, tuning into your observing self makes you less self-absorbed. It's associated with more stable mood, less depression and anxiety, and better performance. Most people, no matter what personality type they are, stare at their me self too much. IPs cling to their point of view, their beliefs and their opinions. EJs are more actively focused on how their me self is regarded by others. Neither is being authentic, because their focus is on an image that isn't actually them. If you want to be authentic, if you want to feel whole and abundant, you must learn to relax away from who you think you are. When Ryan Holiday quotes Marcus Aurelius and preaches to not care about people's opinions, I believe he's talking about attachment to the me self. It's this attachment that makes you overly sensitive and afraid. It's this attachment that makes everyone self-absorbed in their own way. But you cannot change others. You can only let go of your own bullshit. IPs are scared and nervous because they have forgotten who they are. They don't dare to be authentic because authenticity requires you to let go of your attachment to the me self. Authenticity and freedom lie on the other side of fear and pain. They require you to let go of who you think you are, to detach from your meaningless opinions about yourself, so you can put your attention on someone else. And when it comes to that, IPs are just the worst. Stop looking at yourself so much and learn to tune into the I self to focus more on the outside world. Pay attention to the actual people in your life. Be with them, listen to them, leave their lives better than when you found them. But don't fear their judgment. The I self allows you to act from a sense of confidence and connection, so you can participate in the world in an unflinching, wholesome and wholehearted manner. To lean away from the self-absorbed me self and into the observing I self, I'd recommend the following 3 things. First, start meditating. Sit, notice your breath and observe your thoughts and feelings to create space between the observer and what is being observed. Realize that thoughts are things. You don't have to act on them right then and there. You can choose to simply keep sitting. Second, stop judging the people around you. Judging isn't pure observation. It's filtering observation through the me self and making it about you. Instead, observe the world around you without regard for your opinions. And third, spend more time in nature and develop a sense of awe. The experience of awe is defined as the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your understanding of the world. Feeling awe diminishes the sense of self. Spending time in nature is one way to cultivate awe, but of course, it's not the only one. You'll find some more information and further resources on this topic in the newsletter that came out with this video. Check out the link in the description. Is Ryan Holiday cringy when he goes on a rant and preaches this stuff? Sure, I totally agree with Shan and Dave on this. Here's the decider after all. But so am I. And I'm aware that this video is just as cringy. But hey, what can I do?